Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, featuring Liam Z. Muniz. Enjoy. Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority. So, y'all, I'm going to be real honest with you. The topic for today's episode is honestly, it can be a runoff to my last episode, which was self-acceptance and trust. This one is going to be, that self-validation. How can we validate ourselves so that we don't have to search it, so that we don't feel that we have to search for it externally? And to be completely honest with you guys, this is the second time that I'm recording this, because the first one I felt so like I was doing it subconsciously, but I felt that I was pressuring myself, like I was limiting myself and constructing this almost like an internal essay to give you, because I wanted your validation. So I'm like, girl, like I had to take a step back before filming again, because I'm like, that isn't my intention. My intentions are not to do the things that I'm trying to tell you guys not to do. I gotta put into action the things that I preach, and this is something I'm currently healing as well, which is why I wanted to touch topic on it today and be completely honest and vulnerable and speak on some of my own experiences with seeking external validation. So again, before we begin the topic, I want to do some affirmations with you guys so that we can ground into the topic, ground into our own interpersonal energies, so that we can learn and teach as authentically as possible. You can repeat them if you like to, or you can just sit back and listen, whatever is most comfortable for you. All that I ask is that you believe. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me actually fix this real quick. Also, I'm not sure if you can hear them, but there's like some beautiful birds in the background. Of course, when I say it, they stop. Okay. Okay, let's get into the affirmations. I believe in my capabilities to succeed. I accept myself fully and wholly. I believe that I'm valuable. I believe that I'm more than enough. I know that I'm more than enough. I believe that all of the things that I have to offer are more than enough. I believe that all of the things that I have to offer are valuable. I know who I am. I know what I need. All that I am is enough for me to succeed. Okay, Dr. Seuss. All that I am is enough for me to be fulfilled. I am enough. I validate my own existence. The air that I breathe, my breath, my life force validates my existence. The universe validates my existence. I'm here for a reason. My purpose is big and it is important. I am here because I matter. Everything that I do matters. Give you with a little kissy. Okay, so let's jump into the topic. So like when I was filming this before, like this is my second attempt, but my first attempt, it felt very, I don't know, like what's the word that I'm searching for? It just felt really like very false. Like I was trying to say things and express things in ways that weren't really authentic, wasn't really how I was feeling in the moment. It was more because I wanted you to feel that, because I wanted you to experience these emotions and understand the things that I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. This is like almost like an attachment to a last episode, because in the last episode I was speaking of acceptance, that sometimes we may feel subconsciously that we have to do things for other people to understand us. So that's something that I was doing when I was filming this episode before. I was saying things and expressing in ways that I wanted you to understand instead of it being my own internal understanding. So, self-validation. What is it? How can we practice it? How can we achieve it? Because in the society, I feel that we are conditioned to always seek that validation from others, right? Especially when it, not even from just people too, most especially from materials. We seek validation from materials, which sounds a little silly because it's like, oh, well, we're alive, materials are not, but it's become such a norm, that sometimes we might not realize it. Like, for example, when it comes to money, or when it comes to luxurious materialistic desires, we might not feel that we are valuable unless we have money in our bank accounts, or we might not feel that we are worthy of certain things unless, something or someone approves of it, something or someone gives us that green light. If I, for example, let's say I'm someone who feels as though I don't hold value unless I'm wearing a piece of clothing or a piece of jewelry that's very valuable, right? That's you seeking validation from an external source. It doesn't have to be a person. It doesn't have to be anything alive. It's just something outside of yourself. So practicing that self-validation is so, so important, especially when it comes to self-love and acknowledging your value, your internal value. Because I've always felt this way, or let me not say always, but I feel this way now, where it's like, I know that even if like I didn't have any jewelry, I didn't have any clothes, and I was like living outdoors, or I was homeless or something, I would still feel that sense of internal value, because I know that I'm someone that if I don't have something, I always find a way to use my resources, right? I'll always find a way to do something differently, or still express the things that I want to express, even if I feel that I might be a little limited, right? And that goes back to that conditioning to feel externally validated by material things. We might feel that we're restricted when it comes to creating or expressing or connecting because we might not have access to certain technology, right? But there's still different ways. So that self-validation comes in when you're able to acknowledge and realize that I am all that I need to succeed. Your success is a mindset. Success is not an object. It is not a desire. It is something you already have within you, and something you can continue to build within you, but you don't need anything externally, right? So it's that sense of belonging, that internal belonging. Oh, when I said that, it made my heart feel very warm. Yeah, it's that sense of internal belonging, feeling like, I am valuable. Even if I don't have like the most luxurious things, even if I don't have the most expensive materials, like, hey, I'm valuable. No one can rock the things you rock the way that you rock it. So let them know. Let them know. No one can wear your skin the way that you wear it. No one can walk and talk the way that you walk and talk. So walk and talk it as if it's the most precious thing, because it is. You are very valuable. You are literally one of one. There can be a million people who have the same shoes, the same shirt, the same jewelry, the same hairstyle, but no one can wear it like you. So, it's not the material. It's not the material that brings the value. It's you. You decide, well, how do I want to express? How do I want to dress and use these certain pieces and accessories? It's you bring the value. Success and value and worth, it's all internal. It is a state of being. It is a perspective. So then again, we go back to the question. How can I validate myself? How can I validate myself so I don't feel that I need other people to validate me? And it's self-love. Having that unconditional love for yourself. And one of my previous episodes, I spoke of unconditional love, and my perspective of unconditional love is acceptance. So having that acceptance for yourself that, yeah, I am different. I do express differently. I do see the world differently. I do love differently. And that is where the value comes in. So when you're able to accept that, when you're able to acknowledge and hold space for yourself in that way, that's that sense of self-validation. That's when you build that trust with yourself. That's when you build that acceptance. That's when you build that very tight bond with yourself. I didn't think of this before, but sometimes I sit with myself and I'm like, you know what? I am my soulmate. Before my actual romantic soulmate comes in, I am my very first soulmate. The universe is my very first soulmate, and I am the universe, right? So it's like I am my own best friend before anyone else, because I am the one who understands myself most. I know what I need when I need it. I am the only one who can see through my eyes. I am the only one who can experience the life that I am experiencing, because it has nothing to do with materials. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. The human experience is the internal experience. That's the experience. It's the emotions you feel, the thoughts you cultivate, the way that you view the world, the way that you love yourself, the things that you express. It's all an internal process. That's why I feel like we hear this phrase a lot where it's like, what is it? I had it in my mind and it kind of disappeared. But it's almost like you are your life, something like that. I don't really remember, but it's like you are your life, you are your reality, you are the creator of your reality. The reason why that phrase is validated, why it's so true, is because everything that happens in your life is internal. It is all an internal process. The experience is internal. So that self-validation is key to you being in a present moment and acknowledging and accepting the things that you deserve into your life, and when it comes to materials, it's okay to have desires for materials, but if you feel so connected to materials to the point where it's like, oh, I can't go out if I'm not wearing my jewelry. I can't, show my face if I don't have makeup on. That's you seeking it in a way that might not be the healthiest, because you subconsciously are telling yourself that, hey, I need this in order to be valuable. I need this in order to be beautiful. I need this in order to be worthy of good things in my life. And so that's kind of restricting your authenticity. Let your inner child be the person that you are when you're alone, because that is you. When I'm alone, I'm like literally having internal dialogues externally. Like I'll be having full on conversations of with 3 different characters. I'm like pretending that I'm, on an interview or something, or I'm dancing and I'm doing all these super silly things that I feel like if I were to do them outdoors, people would look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Be like, girl, you need to go to a mental asylum right now because I'm scared. I'm scared of you. But it's like, that's just me. That's who I am internally. I'm very giggly. I'm very energetic. And having that self-validation is knowing that it's okay for me to be that way. Sometimes in public, I feel like I restrict myself and I put up this barrier because I don't want people to look at me crazy. And that's me wanting that external validation to tell me that who I am internally, who I am naturally is valuable, is accepted in society. Girl, fuck that shit. Fuck that. Like, ugh. If you constantly seek for society or anything externally to tell you that who you are is who you are meant to be, you're never going to really truly understand who you are. You're never truly going to love yourself. You're never truly going to see the immense value that you have, because yeah, I don't know you, or maybe I do, but like I still know that you are valuable simply because you exist. because you existing is validation, and it is proof that you matter. Because if you didn't matter, you wouldn't be here, right? If you didn't matter, you wouldn't be experiencing this life. So it's like, hold that space for yourself to simply be yourself. You know, if you're out in public and you're listening to music and you want to do a little dance, do a little dance. Who cares? You know, you are the one who validates what you do. You decide who are you going to be. Like behind me, if you're watching the video, hi, how are you? I have this quote behind me that says, who will we be? Because it is a reminder that we always have a choice, you know, even if we feel like we may be limited. That's negative subconscious beliefs. That's your own internal limitations, because you decide your limits. You decide the boundaries. You decide, well, how far can I go? So do it with who you are when you're outside, when you're in public. Be who you want to be. Be who you feel is you internally, and that is self-validation. So I did mention I was on video. This is a little off topic, but I just wanted to throw this in there just in case. And it's come to my attention that the video doesn't show up in every streaming platform. Like for me, I use Spotify and I can see the video. So I thought that everyone can, and it turns out you can't. So I will be trying my best to post every episode on YouTube as well, which I can also link down below. Or it's in my link tree, which is the link down below. But I will put it there so that you can see me if you'd like to. If not, that's okay. We're all different. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. But going back to the topic, I want to share some of my experiences when it came to validation, because I've mentioned this a bit in some of my other episodes where it's like I constantly molded myself to be in satisfaction with my environment. So it was like every time I was in a different environment or around different people, I'd mold myself and become this different person or create this persona based off of their perspectives and their mindsets and their thoughts and their ideas, right? So it was never me being authentic. And there were moments when I was authentic, but because I constantly sought that external validation, I wasn't able to recognize when I was being authentic. And that led me to this lack of inner connection with myself, because I was like, I don't know who the fuck I am. So every time I was around different people, I'd act differently, or I'd speak differently, or I'd even think differently, because I didn't understand, or I didn't acknowledge and truly see who I was authentically, because I constantly searched for that external validation. And I feel like that's very rooted to my childhood experiences. You know, I grew up in an environment that was very unstable. You know, there was a lot of arguing, a lot of chaos. Nothing was ever physical, which I'm very, very grateful for, but it was just a lot of mental toxicity and verbal toxicity. And so I felt that if I added anything to that, you know, if I added any other, you know, any other verbalism, like verbal words, or just anything, any sense of self-expression, or any thoughts or any ideas or any feelings, I felt that I would add on to the chaos. And that led me to be someone who constantly runs away from not chaos, but what is the word I'm searching for? Shit. Anyways, I'd constantly just run away from anything that wasn't peace, that wasn't quiet, whatever. And so that led me to not feeling like I can express myself. That led me to not feeling like I can speak my mind, you know, because it didn't feel like a safe space where I felt I had the space. You know, I thought that if I were to say something, if I were to, you know, tell someone like, hey, I don't feel good here, or this isn't something that makes me feel safe, or just speaking my mind, I felt that I was taking up space. You know, I thought that my presence and my thoughts and my words were not valuable and I shouldn't speak them. So that's kind of how that went. And it reflected me growing up, because then growing up, I waited for someone's validation or someone's cue to simply be, or to say something, to express myself. And yeah, and that's shitty. That was so shitty. Like, now I'm in a place where I'm able to recognize that it was because I sought that validation, and I was in lack of that internal validation. So just recently I concluded that, hey, maybe subconsciously I wasn't searching for external validation, but instead I was searching for internal validation, because that's what we need in order to not feel so dependent on external validation, right? So I felt as though maybe it was my inner child who is telling me, like, hey, I am willing to do anything that you feel is right so that you can validate me, so that I can validate myself, so that I can feel valuable, so that I can feel worthy of being alive. And like, saying that, it kind of makes me feel a bit sad, because that was such an internal struggle, an internal and mental struggle and challenge for me to overcome. And I didn't realize it until it was too late, and it's never too late, but I felt that it was physically too late for me. And that's when, I started to attempt suicide multiple times. That's when I started to self-harm and just treat myself negatively, because no matter how many people told me that I was beautiful, no matter how many people told me that I was talented, I did not believe it. I did not believe it, and I still felt empty, and I still felt like I wasn't valuable, because I wasn't validating myself, because that was a belief that I didn't hold of myself, right? So that goes back to my last episode of self-acceptance. It's understanding that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of me, because there could be a million people telling me that I'm worthy, that I'm valuable, that I'm amazing. But if I don't believe it, if I don't internalize that affirmation, there's a little hair in my ear tickling me. Okay. That sense of knowing internally, I'm never going to feel valuable. I'm never going to feel worthy. I'm never going to feel like, yeah, they're right. You can feel that short-term fulfillment when someone affirms something positive to you. But it's going to go away like this, because it's not an internal belief. So self-validation is very important. It is very, very important. Oh my goodness. And it all circles back to self-love, unconditional love, that sense of acceptance to self, acknowledging who you are, acknowledging your true perspectives, and going back to your inner child. Your inner child is the purest form of unconditional love. Your inner child is unconditional love in human form, right? It's that sense, that state of quote unquote innocence before people started to tint your perspectives. So your inner child is that clear lens, that clear newborn lens before everyone else started spraying stuff on you, right? So connecting back to is connecting back to your authenticity. It's connecting back to your organic roots. And that's unconditional love. That is unconditional love, baby. It's unconditional love is, through my perspective, is acceptance. So unconditional love can be self-validation. It can be self-love. It can be expressing love, just love in action. That authentic inner child energy and action is love. When you feel like you can truly, you truly want to give, and you truly want to accept, and you truly want to just live, that is your inner child. That is the purest form of who you are, And I feel as though it's so important that we connect back to our inner child and disconnect from this dystopian society that tries to really limit us and keep us in this box, right? And these negative egoistic perspectives and egoistic qualities that we sometimes absorb, right? Like, let's go back to being a child. Go back to doing things you used to do when you were little and see how it feels and see how your body reacts, how your mind reacts, you know. Indulge in things that bring you that nostalgic feeling of, hey, like, damn, like I used to love doing this. Like for me, I was always obsessed with Dora. I don't know why. Dora, fairies, Barbies, they were just my thing. Like, I was like, yes, Exploradora. I am the explorer. And, you know, I realized that my inner child, my most authentic self, is so magical. Like, I love fairy tales. I love everything magic. When I go hiking sometimes, I like imagine there's like little fairies following me around, and there's little gnomes in the holes that I find on the floor. And it's little things like that that bring you back to that utopic era in yourself, you know, bringing back to that space of simply being you without the restrictions of materials, without the restrictions of society's negative, toxic habits. Like, simply be, you know, go explore, go see the world, go be with nature, go talk to the trees, go hug the trees, go paint a wall, go paint your toes. Like, do everything your inner child has ever wanted to do, and observe yourself. Observe how it feels. Observe the way that it changes you. Observe the things that you mimic, you know, because as children, we don't really know of any of these conditionings, right? That's why we're so curious. That's why we ask so many questions, and that's why we touch everything. Because it's like, oh, you know, I'm curious. Curiosity is a good thing. Curiosity is a pure form of your inner child. You just need to, now that we're older and we can understand, you can still be curious. You just have to set those boundaries, right? You have to set those boundaries in terms of understanding, okay, it's okay for me to be curious. It's okay for me to ask questions, but there is an extent to it. If I am, you know, stepping over someone else's boundaries, then I'm going too far with my curiosity. You know, if I'm hurting myself or hurting others, or just with bad intent, even if it's pure intent of just curiosity, sometimes our curiosity can lead to bad things, right? To bad habits, to some negative things that might affect us or might affect the collective. So just having that inner validation of saying, hey, it's okay for me to be a quote unquote kid again. It's okay for me to have this like very childlike pure energy. It's okay for me to do that. And there are moments when we have to be serious, and that's where the boundaries come in, right? So simply be like, ugh, don't limit yourself. The fuck. Don't limit yourself. Be who you want to be. Be how you want to be. Love what you want to love. Love who you want to love. Love the way that you love to love. Period. Like, there are no rules to loving. There are no rules to life besides the universal laws of, you know, our collective. But just do you, you know, go back to who you were as a child, and start there. That is the root. Your inner child is the root, and you decide, you know, where I want to go from there. But acquire that energy. That inner child energy is your magic. It is what is going to drive you to beautiful, beautiful places. So use it. Don't deny it. Don't wait for someone else to validate you and say, oh yeah, you can have fun. Go ahead. You can go dance. You can go jump and play and sing. No, do it now. Do it because you simply love to do it. Like, that's it. If you do need that external validation, I'm telling you right now, validate yourself. Give yourself permission to live. Give yourself permission to be free. Give yourself permission to be loving. Give yourself permission to be bright and different and stand out and be bold. Because who knows, like, there's so many of us who want to do it, right? So if you take that first step, how many people will you inspire? You inspire so many people. And maybe at first they'll be like, the fuck? And then after they're like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to go jump. I want to go play. I want to run around in the rain and be silly and just be authentic and giggly. And that's good that we connect to that unconditional love. So give yourself that permission. You are your own parent now. You don't have to wait for anyone else to tell you to go and do things. You don't have to wait for anyone else to give you the go. You are the green light. You are driving the boat right now. You decide where you want to go. You decide when you want to do it. Okay? My beautiful, beautiful self. This conversation is so fun. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, like, simply be, you know. If you got anything from this episode, is that you have permission to simply be. No matter what anyone else is saying, no matter what you grew up thinking or what people told you to think and do, you are in control now. You decide now. You're no longer a passenger. You are the driver. Like, let them know. Let them know. Go ahead. Like, you're amazing. You deserve to feel free. You deserve to feel that fulfillment and inner child happiness. Okay. You can do it. You can do it anytime. Like, just do it. That's that. Okay. So this is leading me to the end of the conversation, because that felt so much better than when I tried to film it before. Because before I was like structuring it way too much. Excuse me. And I was making it so complicated. And in my mind, I was like, no, you can't say this yet. You have to wait until later. Like, girl, say what you want to say. Do what you want to do. Be who you want to be. Like, whatever feels natural and comfortable for you. Okay? And have it come from a place of true unconditional love. Set good intentions. Okay? So, as we are healing and growing and learning and blooming together, I hope you stick along for this journey, because honestly, I'm excited to see what conversations we have moving forward. I've definitely been very natural flowing lately. This was a topic I thought of, but I didn't think of doing it this way, right? So I'm allowing my inner child and my energy the space to express the way it feels comfortable expressing, without any limitation, barriers, or rules. So, my beautiful, beautiful selves, I hope you have a fantastic morning, day, evening, night, whatever it may be for you, because you, my beautiful, 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 beautiful soul, are deserving of the best and only the best things the universe has to offer. I will see you whenever I post again. Make sure to stay connected and contribute to the conversations. It's not just me speaking to you. We are speaking together. We're soul besties right now. We got the tea and everything. Like, please. So stay connected. Stay beautiful. Stay bright. Stay authentic. And be bold. Be fearless. Okay? Who cares what anyone else thinks? They're miserable. But that doesn't mean that you should be. Okay? I will see you guys in the next episode or whenever I pop up. I love you so, so much. Peace.